Coming soon, February 22nd.
I need all crew on the bridge immediately.
This is an urgent mission announcement.
These disappearances can't be coincidences.
Jeez, lighten up a little, would you?
That's not my problem. You weren't signed in anywhere.
I feel like I can't trust any of you.
So weak will.
We should eject her from the spacecraft so she can't kill us all!
Please respond immediately.
She's the strongest woman I know.
Just imagine if we end up finding humans just like us on there, and discovering that this planet is exactly identical to Earth.
Don't be stupid. Olivia needs you in the med bay.
What are you doing?
Well, I still don't trust you.
It makes me want to slap her sometimes.
We need energy from physical life forms.
Not you too, Abigail. Couldn't have just vanished into thin air.
How long will that take?
We'll get through this, and you'll never be left on your own if you don't want to be.
Mercury Theatre Podcast.
Where was everyone?
So you just heard the promo for the upcoming episode, The Lost Control. And I actually have in the quote-unquote studio, Georgina Walkington. Georgina, hi.
Hello. Hi.
Hey, it's great to have you. I was so happy when we decided that we were going to work together on this episode, and I definitely wanted to make sure that I took a stand back.
Yeah.
And made sure that you were able to take the reins as much as possible.
Yeah.
So I want to talk, before we get into like how the whole process went.
Mm-hmm.
No, let's just jump right into it. How did you think it went?
The directing process.
Yes.
Honestly, I felt really nervous about it, mainly because I hate having to nitpick and interrupt people during lines. I feel really rude about it, and I need to get over that. But I think I did better with this one compared to when I was assistant directing for Captain Fearless. I mean, it was enjoyable overall, but yeah, I still think I could have improved by just interrupting more. But very enjoyable.
Yeah, it is definitely interesting to be on the other side, because originally you had started off as my voice actor for the first for the first fully cast episode, Nikki's sketch, and then you get to see kind of my evolution at the same time, because that was when I was still green to the process, and then over the episodes I've been getting better, or more fluid at least.
Yeah.
And I think that your biggest struggle, if I don't,
no,
if
go
you
ahead.
don't mind me saying so,
No.
was finding the words to describe how it is that you wanted people to express themselves.
Yeah, that was also another thing. I'm just bad at explaining things, which is probably not great for a director. But yeah, I always know how I want it to sound in my head, but then having to express that verbally so that someone else can understand, it's really hard. But luckily you were there, and like everyone else kind of knew what I was on about as well, so that helped.
Yeah, it's still really strange to me to have to find words to really describe how you're feeling, like how your character is feeling, and how to really like emphasize what it is that you want emphasis on.
Yeah, exactly.
So sometimes it makes a lot of sense to say it the way that you want to say it, but there's a reason why you have a voice actor saying what it is that you're
yeah. I always feel
conveyed.
Yeah, I always feel so awkward when I'm saying the line how I want it to be said, because I always feel like I bet this doesn't sound good to everyone else, and they're probably thinking like, are you sure you want me to say it like that? But it always sounds different from the other person. But yeah, I hate having to like repeat the line in the way that I kind of want it saying, because it does sound wrong, and I'm scared that everyone else is judging me for being a bad actor. but yeah.
No. So I want to congratulate you. You did a really great job, and
thank you.
I'm so glad that you were able to do this. Not only did you direct it, but you also wrote it.
Yes, I did write it.
What was the inspiration behind this episode for you?
Two main things. Doctor Who and Among Us. Doctor Who, mainly the villain that I have. I'm not going to say anything else about the villain. I'll just say the villain. Is very Doctor Who inspired. One particular episode that I watched recently, and I was like, that would be great for a sci-fi setting in this type of way, like on a spacecraft. And I don't know, I just kind of put it in my head, and then I was like, but then it could have this Among Us element where you don't know who the imposter is, and like everyone's turning on each other and everyone's suspicious. And yeah, I thought, just combine it and then throw a couple of lesbians in there as well for good measure, and yeah, there you go. I couldn't pass up the opportunity to have a gay romance in there, because that's me.
So you had approached me, I would say probably about a month ago, and asked me if you could participate in this. And how much of this had you written already before we went into this?
I think I'd written about half. My idea was to write it all and then suggest it to you, but I was too impatient with that. I was like, I want to tell you about this idea I have. So I was just like, I'll just tell them now and say like my plans. And yeah, I thought half done was all right. Better than nothing. So
yeah, it's so different when you get proposed an idea as opposed to being proposed an idea with some content.
Yeah. And
I've been asked if I would do an episode, and it got summarized by 3 sentences, and it's like, okay, now go. And it's like, well, there's a lot more to it, because I think that 3 sentences versus 30 pages, it makes it feel a little bit different. Like there's one that actually has some thought into it. And I was actually surprised at how quickly you were writing. You did a really good job once you,
thank you.
After I had seen it, and I'm sure before then too.
Yeah, I really enjoyed writing it. It's just something different to do, and I've always liked like the idea of writing like scripts. Because I've been that girl to write fan fiction in the past, but I'm just really not good at descriptive stuff. So I think in a writing sense, I think scripts are my sort of the better area, because it's just dialogue mainly. So yeah, I like dialogue.
Now, how would you feel about this episode versus? I mean, was the original medium that you wanted to be audio, or was it something that you saw as a visual?
Well, I'd had the idea in mind for an audio, for it to be on an audio medium, simply because I knew as I came up with the idea that I wanted to work with you on it. I mean, it would be cool in a sort of to see it visually as well. But to be honest, I think it would work just as well on audio, just because there's not that much action in it per se, so it's not like you're missing out on that much with it being an audio medium compared to like visual.
Yeah. So when you were writing it, were you writing things and realizing, hey, this is an audio medium that I'm trying to write for, or how is that experience for you?
Yeah. I definitely wrote it as if it was going to be a script for like a visual thing, like as if something that would be on TV. That's simply because when I was writing it, I just wanted the voice actors and me to know what exactly was going on, so they could picture it, and then I could also know when sound effects would be going in. And so I definitely think I explained a lot that can't really be conveyed through an audio medium. So I did have a lot of extra details in there that probably didn't matter, but they mattered to me just so I knew what was happening, so I could visualize it all. But yeah.
Yeah, it is quite peculiar to go from one to the other.
Yeah.
And you can hear the voices when you're writing it, or are you just hoping that the voices are just going to match the
I
character?
Definitely had voices, the type of voice in mind, and honestly I think the VAs that were picked matched up really well to my expectations. I mean, I did write it with 2 people in mind to play 2 of the parts.
Paige Elena and then Kittens Be Trippin'.
Yeah, as Jenny and Abigail. And then with auditioning, the thing with the auditions is that a lot of people there was a lot of people who auditioned for every single part. So, and some of them sounded really good for every part they auditioned for, and I was like, it was kind of hard to choose which one I thought was best for
Just
them.
cast them all for all of the positions.
Yeah, if only. But no, I think like we chose well in the end, and especially with Bryn, who plays the commander. Like, she's just absolutely amazing. Like, she's better than what I could have imagined it.
She
her
definitely
voice.
has that authoritative voice
Yes,
that really just
definitely, it's great. But no, everyone's been amazing and has sounded how I imagined them to sound.
You know, that was one of the descriptions that I saw, that authoritative, and then once I heard Bryn's audition, I was like, that's who we need to do. So we actually changed her from one audition that she had done and then changed her to this one, because it's like, that's who we want. But it was really good. It was really interesting to see it from my perspective too, because I'm essentially not a voice actor, and like I have that short bit up at the front.
Yeah.
But then I just kept on putting myself on mute and watching you kind of take over. And there are a couple of things that I'm looking for that you don't necessarily have that ear for yet, like the plosives and everything.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just a matter of the program that we're using, Discord. So, you know, I might hear a plosive that might not actually be in their audio.
Yeah.
But it was fun to kind of take a step back and watch you just go to town with it.
Oh no, it was definitely scary, especially with the whole plosive things. Like, I have no idea what I'm looking out for with that sort of thing. And whenever I think I've heard one, I'm always like, oh, well, maybe it's just how I'm hearing it and it's not how the microphone is picking it up. So I'm glad you were there to like pick up on those things and then also help me explain to everyone what I was on about when I was giving them notes. So yeah.
Once you go into editing, then you're going to have a whole other light to look at it with.
Yeah.
You'll see the plosives, you'll be like, oh no,
like,
and how do you figure that out and everything.
Yeah.
So that'll be a fun process. That's your homework.
Yeah, that'll be an exciting experience. I'm really excited to try editing because I've never done it before. So it would be cool to like have a go and like practice and see how it turns out. Obviously, I'm sure yours will be much better, but maybe it won't. Maybe mine will just be superior. Maybe it's a secret talent.
Maybe it will be.
We'll see.
I'll be excited to see that.
Yeah.
So, do you have any plans from here? Do you have any goals that you're wanting to accomplish with this, or is it just a one and done kind of a thing for you?
Definitely not one and done kind of thing. I mean, it is definitely more of a hobby for me. I would never think I can never see myself trying to do this professionally. It's definitely just a hobby for me, but I'd still like to try it again, like write and direct episodes for you in particular, because I like working with you.
I'm blushing.
No. But yeah, no, I definitely want to continue with this as long as I can for Mercury Theatre Podcasts, because I just love how everything's done. I love the people we work with. I love you. It's familiar now, and I really enjoy it.
Yeah. It is definitely fun. I couldn't have asked for a better crew, and it's fun watching that evolution. And I think that we're kind of like capping it, and we'll keep on putting in a random person every so often. But we're essentially the group now as of this episode.
I think we've got a good range of VAs in the group. But yeah, I think for any role that's written, there'll be someone who's like perfect for it, to be honest.
Yeah. So, in your history, is it directing that has always appealed to you the most, or do you have any other skills? Did you want to always tell me about Georgina?
Well, when I was younger, I always had the idea of becoming an actress. Like, acting was the one thing I really wanted to do, but then my family was like, "Are you sure that's a great career choice?" And I was like, probably not very stable. But yeah, I was in a community theatre group for 6 years, so from age 12 to 18 doing a variety of different plays. They were mainly period dramas. I had to play like nuns and someone who gave birth once and slapped and then was gagged all in the same scene. So that was exciting.
Gave birth, gagged, and slapped in the same scene.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. I was playing this girl who was in an abbey where they took like kids who didn't behave well, like bad behaving kids, basically. And because I'd gotten pregnant and wasn't married, that was bad. So I was sent to this like abbey with all these nuns, and I had to give birth. And then I was screaming too loudly, so they slapped me and gagged me to shut me up while I was giving birth.
That sounds horrible.
Yeah. I'm glad it wasn't a real thing.
Was this a play that I would know?
No, our director in the theatre company, he wrote all the plays himself. So yeah, they were all like original, so you wouldn't have heard of them though. I've never really, well, apart from musicals, I've never done any plays that anyone would know of. But yeah, it's been really fun though, and yeah, I've really enjoyed acting. But actually, as I've started to do some directing with this, this is kind of appealing to me a little bit more than acting. I don't know, I just like how you get to observe and, you get to have your say in how things are done, and yeah, I don't know, I like the power, even if I'm bad at using it.
You're like a timid queen.
A timid queen, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it was voice acting that got me into it, but it's directing and producing that's just made me say, this is what I want to keep on doing.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. You don't get this kind of feeling pretty much unless you're doing what we're doing. And I like that it's in real time, because real time changes everything.
Yeah.
You can listen to a production that's a bunch of people doing their individual lines, but it's a whole other thing to get other people to do it simultaneously. Exactly,
because like all of the actors can like feed off each other and like their emotions, and I think it flows better than just having all these individual lines and then just putting them together, because I feel like there's always a bit where it kind of just sounds off, where one actor says one line, the other actor responds, but they're kind of both different in a sort of way. I think it works much better when everyone's recording together. Definitely
more like the theater production process. Yeah, definitely.
That's what I really enjoyed when I first started working with you on Nikki's sketch. I was just so surprised and excited by the fact that we were all doing it together. It was really enjoyable.
Good. That's I had no experience doing this with anybody else, so I didn't know what to expect or what to give. And then now doing it or figuring it out as I've been going along, I realized, I could do this in person at the same time, virtually, essentially. Yeah. But it's so fun.
Yeah.
Do you have any special skills?
I can play...
I don't know. That's a great seg, right? You just, we're in the middle of a conversation. Do you have any special skills?
I can, if it counts, I can play the viola, which is apparently not many people play that instrument. I can play it at like grade 4 level. I don't know if that means anything to Americans. I don't know how but how you're graded work. I don't know. But I play at grade 4.
Do you have kindergarten over in the UK?
No, we don't have kindergarten. We have like preschool and primary school. That's when I started to play in primary school, because there was this woman who had a bunch of violas and then was like, right, let's learn how to play, and then I just kind of continued it since then, and then I gave it up about 3-4 years ago now. I still have it and I could still play it, but
so you could play the Mercury Theatre Podcast theme song.
Maybe given some time. I can't sight read, but given some time, I could probably do an okay job at it. Yes.
I like to get free labor out of anybody I can.
Of course, yeah.
I'm not making any money.
I guess with directing, I mean, one of the things that I did forget to say was just what a pleasure it was to work with everyone. Like, I feel like everyone just got along with each other so well. I mean, it's always been like that, I think, with the episodes that you've previously done. But yeah, for this one, it was just really nice to see everyone getting along. We had many random discussions and outbursts of laughter. But yeah, from a director's kind of viewpoint, it's just nice to see everyone getting along and enjoying what they're doing. Also, with writing the script as well, it's kind of scary thinking like, oh god, do they think this is a really bad script or not? What are they like? Are they reading the lines thinking like, this is terrible? What is this? But I don't think they thought the script was bad.
Yeah, my main concern is the day that I'm sending out the script, the day before the record, and I get concerned that people are going to drop out and they're going to be like, yeah, that script sucks. But if they're there in the room, then I'm like, okay, well then I think we're probably set. Yeah,
definitely. No, it's always nerve-wracking when you send it over and then you can see them like on Google Docs, like you can see them there reading it, and it's like, oh god, what are they thinking? I
will say it seemed like this episode was recorded faster than the other episodes, and I think that we went on fewer tangents in it, which was. You know, come to think of it, I was on mute most of the time, so maybe that's my fault.
Probably.
But it was a lot faster, and I liked. It seemed like everybody knew what they were doing. Like, they understood their role, and you gave them some direction and told them, hey, this is what I'm looking for in this line. So if you had just put a little bit more emphasis there, then it gave them more of a feeling of control of their character. And kind of releasing control of my own, and I tried to be as minimally invasive as possible so that I could make sure that it was your episode. But it's going to be so fun to compare notes with the finished episodes.
Oh my god, yeah, it will. I am looking forward to it. I'm also just excited to see how you do it, because I know yours will probably be better than mine when we've both edited it, but yeah, I'm just excited to see what yours will be like, and should be good.
There's a lot to be said about experience, and you know, I don't claim to have a lot of experience by any means, and I'm not a professional yet, but this is something that I have worked on. It's not like if you listen to Nikki's sketch episode, and you're like, okay, well, versus this episode that's going to come out, and you'll notice the distinct differences as far as quality is concerned and production value. Yeah, and it changes everything when you have that. You've done it a couple times, so I made it so the episode for December DEN that got done in pretty much a week. Whereas, but Nikki's sketch, it took every waking moment of my entire month. And but the quality's still better, and it's because I've gotten that experience. So even if we compare notes and you're still it might not be up to where I would consider my standards, it doesn't mean that by any means that it's lesser than the first episode that I did. So it's going to be fun. I'm excited. You get to put in all the sound effects. As the writer, you get to write it, and then you're listening to stuff. I don't know if this is the same for you, but I'm hearing the noises as I'm typing it, and I'm like, this is where it hits. But then once you get into the recording process, some of the episodes I'm like, I just can't really fathom like what's actually happening, because you're not hearing the sound effects. You're focused so much on the actors. And then once you get into post-production, you'll be able to insert all those sound effects and then get to listen to what you heard the first time you were writing. Yeah, definitely. I was a little bit worried when I was like listening to like the VAs and who were great, and I was just listening to it and I was thinking like,
is this going to be enjoyable? Like, right now, I feel like it won't be enjoyable, but then I remember that I've got all of the sound effects and then, like, background music that I would put in just to create more of an atmosphere, because, I mean, obviously the VAs play a part in creating the atmosphere, but also a big part the music and sound effects as well. So, yeah, I'm just hoping to mainly build that atmosphere that I'd imagined in my head for the episode.
You're watching the actors play in front of a green screen. And when you're doing this, just the dialogue. But when you add in the visual effects, and these aren't actual visual effects, but you add in the sound effects, it's the same as if you were to put the visual effects behind or on the green screen. So it changes the whole feel of the entire thing. And sometimes you want minimal difference between A and Z.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, I think in my mind, there's going to be a lot of sound effects and music, I think, especially for certain aspects. I think it will definitely sound a lot different than like what it does post-record before any editing has been done. Yeah. That is my plan.
Yeah. Tell me, Georgina, how would our listeners be able to get in contact with you if they wanted to follow you?
Yeah. My Instagram is at Georgina_Walkington. I'm not on Twitter, sorry. But I'm also on Facebook, Georgina Walkington. Yeah, Instagram and Facebook. Yeah, that's my main things.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, it was an absolute pleasure working beside you and working kind of behind you at this point.
Yeah.
And watching the process. So I'm excited for what we have in the future, what we have in this upcoming episode. So
yeah, me too.
Everybody definitely stay tuned for the upcoming episode, The Lost Control. And Georgina, it was a pleasure having you.
Yes, thank you for talking with me.
Before I let you guys off the hook, there is still the stainless steel Mercury Theatre Podcast water bottle up for grabs. If you win, you won't pay a dime, not for the bottle and not for shipping. Just send me an email with your name to john@mercurytheatrepodcast.com. Again, that's your name to john@mercurytheatrepodcast.com. The R is before the E in the word theater. Redemption details in the response email. Thank you so much for listening to my extra interview with Georgina Walkington. She's the one who wrote and directed the upcoming episode, so make sure you give it a listen on February 22nd. Until then, I'm John Badger.